sudden infant death syndrome, although uncommon, is every parent's worst fear. Fortunately, there are some simple steps that you can take to minimise this tragedy ever happening. The advice that I'm going to give you is based on the latest information from the Foundation for the Study of Infant Deaths. First of all, the cot. Ideally, your baby's mattress should be brand new. If you've inherited yours, you need to make sure that it's clean and dry and free from any cracks or tears. It needs to fit snugly into the cot with no gaps around the edges. Ventilated mattresses with holes are not really suitable because they're impossible to keep clean. You need to make sure that your baby doesn't sleep on a pillow or a sofa or a beanbag or a waterbed. It's a good idea to buy a room thermometer for your baby's room, like the GroEgg, or you could just use the free nursery thermometer that comes with every GroBag sleep bag. The recommended room temperature for a baby is between 16 to 18 degrees centigrade. That's 61 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit. Now that might feel a bit cold for you as an adult, but research has shown that for a baby this is a safe and comfortable temperature to sleep in. In ordinary circumstances, it's not recommended that the central heating be left on overnight, but if it's really very cold and you need to leave it on, make sure that it's controlled by a thermostat. To see if your baby is too hot or too cold, it's best to touch the back of her neck or her tummy, and not the hands or feet, because babies' extremities naturally tend to be quite cold. Do check that your baby is not hot or sweaty during sleep. The safest position for your baby to sleep in is on her back, not on her side or on her tummy. If you're using traditional sheets and blankets, you'll need to make sure that your baby is positioned with her feet to the foot of the cot and the bedding is made up to come no higher than her shoulders. Alternatively, if you're using a baby sleep bag, this feet to foot position isn't necessary, but do remember not to put covers over the top of the sleep bag. Duvets and quilts should never be used for babies under a year old. It's far safer to use cotton sheets and blankets or a baby sleep bag. Electric blankets and hot water bottles shouldn't be used either. Baby sleep bags are great for keeping babies safe and cosy during sleep, but they need to be cotton, lightweight and not have a hood. They need to be well fitted because if they're too tight they'll be uncomfortable, and if they're too big there's a danger that a baby can wriggle down into the bag during sleep. If extra warmth is needed, it's usually only necessary to put extra clothing on the baby, but do be careful not to overheat. There are many sleep bags available to buy, but the only one that's recommended by the Foundation for the Study of Infant Deaths is the GroBag brand. The safest place for your baby to sleep is in a cot, and ideally the cot should be in your room for the first 6 months. If this isn't possible, then the cot needs to be placed in the next nearest room with both doors left open. It is especially dangerous for your baby to sleep in bed with you if you or your partner are a smoker, even if you never smoke in bed or at home, have been drinking alcohol, or take medication or drugs that make you drowsy, or feel very tired, or if your baby was born before 37 weeks, or weighed less than 2.5 kilos, or about 5.5 pounds at birth. Don't forget, accidents can happen. You could accidentally roll over in your sleep and suffocate your baby, or she could become trapped between the bed and the wall, or even fall out of the bed and injure herself. Also, never use a baby sleep bag in an adult bed, as your baby could overheat. And never sleep with your baby in an armchair or a sofa. So, the essentials for reducing the risk of cot death are: cut smoking in pregnancy, fathers too, and don't let anyone smoke in the same room as your baby. Place your baby on the back to sleep and not on the front or side. Do not let your baby get too hot and keep your baby's head uncovered. Place your baby with their feet to the foot of the cot to prevent them wriggling down under the covers, or use a baby sleep bag. Never sleep with your baby on a sofa or armchair. The safest place for your baby to sleep is in a crib or a cot in a room with you for the first 6 months. Settling your baby to sleep day and night with a dummy can reduce the risk of cot death, even if the dummy falls out while your baby is asleep. Breastfeed your baby. Establish breastfeeding before starting to use a dummy. Remember, cot death is very rare, and try not to let fear of it spoil your enjoyment of your baby. By following these simple guidelines, you really will reduce the risk of cot death.